Welcome to the Rusted Garden Homestead. Today's video is all about how do you save your struggling pepper plants. I'll give you 3 ways to really get those plants back on track. I'll show you the plants that are struggling, pepper plants that are healthy, what they should look like. And you can also use these principles on other plants in your garden. So we'll pop around, look at other plants that just aren't doing as well as I feel like they should be doing. I'll explain what's going on with them. And then again, 3 things you can do to get your plants back on track. Let's start with the struggling pepper plants. This is a group of 8 shishitos. They were started as transplants, and part of what's going on here is I let them grow too long in small containers. I just got busy, got them into the ground a little bit late. They've been in here really probably 4 weeks now, 5 weeks, and they're just not doing well. They're kind of yellow, more like a lime color, lime yellow. The shishitos are forming on here, flowers are forming on here, and you might feel like, oh, you know, the peppers are on there, let me just let the plants go. It's slowing them down. These plants will probably correct themselves in 6 or 8 weeks and be okay, but there's something you can do now to get them back on track more quickly and really get them thriving. And just looking in closely, you can see how the leaves are all yellow. This bed has been used for years. Plants do really well in here. We also had like crazy long days of rain, lots of rainwater coming in here for, I don't know, probably 3 to 5 days. Sometimes that impacts the plants. Not sure if that did anything here, but a combination of letting them grow too long in my seed start containers. That's why when you go to like the big box stores and you buy pepper plants that are producing flowers or fruit, or any plant really that's starting to do that, they're going to end up looking like this. They just become bonsai plants. They've been in those little containers too long. The roots get bound. Plants believe that they're big, mighty plants. They start flowering and producing, so it slows them down. Again, if you plant them, yeah, eventually they'll correct, but you're losing on your harvest because the plants just aren't thriving. So we've got a lot of flowers. We've got fruit. We got yellow leaves. What I recommend at this point is to go through and remove all the fruit. All the energy right now is going into producing the peppers. And I'm gonna go in and remove a lot of the flowers. And I'm just gonna kind of reset this plant. You know, in theory, we want these to grow to full size, and for any gardener, it's really hard to pick off flowers and fruit before they're really to size. But I want to get the plants back on track, and this is going to speed up the process. So I would go through and find, like this guy, it's just a tiny plant, 1 pepper on there. I'm going to show you what the plants do. When they stay in containers that are too small for them, you know, when they've been growing probably into the 12th week, here's another pepper. Another pepper. They become bonsai plants, which means they have it in their mind that they're, again, big, mighty plants, and they just start producing fruit. They want to produce fruit, produce seed, reproduce, and you have tiny plants. So I'm going to go through here. Look, we have all those peppers and flowers. Remove everything, and then we'll go to step 2. Like, there's a bunch of peppers in here. There's 3 right there, a little one forming down there, and all the energy, again, is going to go into the production of the peppers, and we don't want that at this point. Here are the peppers that I removed from the 8 shishitos, and you're going to be tempted to keep them on there. I mean, nobody wants to remove, you know, peppers that are growing. However, by doing this, you're really going to get them back on track. In about 7 days, you'll notice a change. In 14 to 21 days, there'll be a big growth difference, and you'll be happy you did this. Some of the flowers and buds and stuff that I took off. So the plants have been sort of stripped down just to the plants. Now, the other thing to assess is there's lots of side growth in here. So I'm not going to top any of these plants. There's another flower I'll get rid of, 2 of them. Plenty of side shoots, the little pepper I missed. I mean, there's so much in here, and the energy, again, is going to those flowers and fruit. So lots of side shoots. I'm not going to top these. That would be the second thing to do, is to top off the plant. By topping off the growing tip, you'll encourage more side growth. I'll show you an example of where I'm going to do that. But these are now ready for step 3. Step 3 is going to be a water-soluble fertilizer. Let me show you some healthy plants and some other problem plants. An example of another group of struggling plants, my eggplant. They were put in as transplants on April 22nd, a little bit early, it was cooler. They were the right size, root systems were fine. And then we would be getting, again, a lot of rain. Then we were getting some cold nights in the low 50s, even upper 40s. And eggplant just like the warmth. So they're gonna be okay, but they are struggling. Flea beetles are showing up. I don't know if you can see them right above my thumb. They're chewing holes in there. What all these plants need, and I'm looking now, like there is some flower development. So I'm gonna take off a couple of the flowers. In this case, there's no eggplant, but again, remove the flowers, hit this with the water-soluble, option number 3, and that will get them back on track. Here's a group of very healthy pepper plants. They were put in about a week, maybe 2 weeks before the peppers that I showed you, the shishitos in the beginning of the video, and they look beautiful. Dark green, nice and stocky, peppers forming, flowers forming. These are bell peppers. And they look good. Some fungal issues on there. I'll be doing future videos on pepper fungi. If you want to subscribe and follow me, I'll also do updates on the shishitos that we're managing today in my, it used to be called Garden Ramblings, but it's the Rusted Garden Show that I do once or twice a month. And I'll give you updates on that. Again, please subscribe and follow me and I'll show you how they're doing. I'll also teach you how to grow food, save some money, have fun. Peppers look really good. This is what I want to get those shishitos to look like, and I think they'll be there close to this in about 2 to 3 weeks. Another group of peppers that are doing really well, have been growing in these vegega beds. Probably this might be year 5, and this is nice because it's a nice tall bed. If you have back issues, it's really easy to manage. But look how beautiful these are. Again, stocky, lots of side growth. Nice and green, peppers forming, flowers forming, but more importantly, they're getting to a nice size. Deep green, here's the concern. You never want to see that. Could be good, could be bad. Don't know what it is, but I'm gonna remove it. If you have time and you see kind of webbing or eggs, if you look them up, sometimes they're beneficial insects, more so than not, they're problematic. But before you start putting down treatments, kill or remove anything, really try and learn what it is. It can be difficult though to kind of figure it out. These peppers just look great. This is what the shishitos should look like. So by sacrificing the flowers, the fruit, giving those peppers treatment, they're gonna be back on track, and before you know it, they're gonna look just like that. Some of my healthier tomato plants, big leaves, nice and green. This guy's not so bad. It's a sun gold. They typically have, smaller leaves in general, but it's kind of looking like the leaves could be better. So I don't need to remove the fruit, remove the flowers. The plant is growing, it's green, looks pretty good. Just hit it with a water-soluble fertilizer, and that will help this guy get back on track. The thing with fertilizing is you don't have to be feeding your earth bed plants every week, 14 days, not even really monthly. I've set my beds up well in the fall, well in the spring. At planting, they get TLC, they get hit with the water-soluble. I use the water-soluble fertilizers now a lot for my earth beds when the plants are struggling, and I just give them a quick pour. I'll show you how to do that in a second. You don't need to overdo the fertilizers, basically, once your plants are growing, if you feel like your beds are pretty well fertilized. Compost itself is well below a 1-1-1 NP and K, nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. You just need a slow, steady feed. Sometimes the plants have issues of getting their roots established when they're transplants. Cold weather messes them up. Rain can mess them up. So we come out here and we see the struggling peppers, and we just do these 3 steps to get them back on track. So let's talk about water-soluble fertilizers. First of all, everything in the world is a chemical. Organic water-soluble, people-made water-soluble fertilizers, both chemicals. Chemical fertilizers have a bad rap, what we know as chemical, meaning people-made, that it's not natural. They get a bad rap because new gardeners, and there's a lot of stuff on the internet that says if you use them, you're poisoning your soil, it's bad, it hurts the plants in some capacity. That's just not true. If you use and abuse the human-made, the chemical fertilizers, you can damage the soil. But water-soluble fertilizer, granular fertilizers, don't really build the soil. Yes, the organic types feed the microbes a little bit, but you must have compost, manures, organic matter in the soil. That's the truth, the heart of organic gardening, is really having lots of compost in your garden soil. So that means the water soluble, use whatever you want. Some people are on a budget, the water soluble is cheaper. The water soluble chemical types are cheaper, like Plant Expert or Miracle Grow. However, they're really high in NP and K. They're like a 24 nitrogen, I think 8 phosphorus, maybe 16 potassium. You don't need it that strong. Use it at half strength. Bring it down to like a 12, 4, 8 or something like that. That's perfect for what we're doing today. If you don't want to use the human-made chemical types, go ahead and use any organic water soluble. I recommend AgroThrive. I'm affiliated with them. You can find them in the video description. They're just not as high in the nitrogen, and that's what you really want to get these plants greened up and back on track and producing leaves. So it's up to you. I just want to be clear that whatever you choose, you're not going to harm your plants. Here are 8 more shishitos, and they're a little bit tall and skinny. Not a huge problem. They are producing peppers now, and I'm actually going, in this case, recommend you remove the peppers, but leave the flowers. I want these to be a bit more bushy. The color looks okay. They're going to get the water-soluble fertilizer too, but you can see peppers forming. I'm just going to remove those now. And then I'm looking into the joints. You can see some nice side shoots forming, which is perfect. I want more energy to go into the side shoots now and just the plant sturdiness, leaves, and structure than peppers. And this isn't going to really set them back much. So you have all these growing tips. So the energy goes into the growing tips and the plant keeps growing. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to remove a third of the growing tips. That will encourage more growth out of the body of the plant. And I would come over here, got 2 peppers, I'm gonna remove those now. In this case, I'm leaving the flowers and the tiny peppers, like right in there. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 areas growing. I'm just gonna remove 2. And that's just to encourage a little bit more growth coming out of the sides. Like this one doesn't have as many leaves coming out of the joints. They'll get there, but I want to speed up the process. So I'm removing the peppers. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm just going to remove 1. And I'm just taking the whole tip. That will encourage the growth out the sides, and then these will get hit with the water soluble. If you wanted to, I mean, theoretically, you could just let these grow, hit them with the water soluble. They're going to be okay. But I know that if I do this now, it'll just make for a bulkier plant. I'll get more peppers. Okay, let's get to the feeding of the water soluble. And just to be clear, chemical types, using it for emergencies isn't going to damage anything. Perfectly safe to use. Abuse of this would be like using it every week, using it at full strength, not putting in organic matter, and just using the chemicals almost 24/7. You just don't need to do that. You're also going to notice that on the weaker leaves, you might see holes in there, maybe some sort of fungus. The weaker leaves just get picked off by insects and disease. The rest of the plant's going to be fine. So I'm not even spraying this. If you were concerned that maybe you had a fungus, hit it with a antifungal. You can use any type. Baking soda spray, wettable sulfur, both organic, good sprays to use. Just want to show you the quick pour. You can wet the leaves if you want to. I mean, that's sort of a myth. 1, 2, 3, just a nice slow 3 count. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. That's plenty. Now I'm using a hybrid. I'm using AgroThrive at regular strength, and I'm using the chemical type Plant Expert in this case at about 1/3 strength. I just want to increase that nitrogen. There's nothing wrong with using those chemical types in the matter that I'm showing you. And you know, who would have thought, you know, you can do both. You don't have to pick one or the other. This is a great way to rescue struggling plants, get them back on track. Now, wait a week. You don't have to hit these again. In 7 days, you should notice they're much more green. They look good, leave them alone. If you feel like they need another boost, another quick shot of the water soluble like I showed you. At that point, you could just go to the lower organic, the lower organic that aren't the human-made chemicals. It gets so confusing because they're not going to need that much more nitrogen. You hit them with nitrogen. So AgroThrive, I think, has a 2 or 3% nitrogen. Fish Emulsion, Alaska brand, has a 5% nitrogen. That's plenty to get them back on track even a little bit more. So again, we're just using different fertilizers in a targeted way. Here's another example of a struggling plant. Blueberry patch. Blueberries look amazing. Please follow me. I'll be showing you the harvest and how well these did this year. They've been doing great in this area. Loaded with blueberries, nice and green. When we come down to this guy, he's standing out. Very yellow, issues with the leaves. Everything in here has been treated the same way. So I'm not sure what that is, but I'm gonna hit this blueberry plant with the water-soluble fertilizer, get the nitrogen to it. Hopefully it helps green up. It's not gonna catch up to these plants. Blueberries grow differently. They've already flowered. The fruit's forming. Once the fruit's done, the plants just grow as bushes, unlike the peppers that will keep producing. So what I hope here is just to get this plant green again, get it growing, and then next year it's gonna be strong and it's gonna look like the blueberries next to it. Let me show you how I'm feeding the other struggling plants too. Really almost the same. Eggplant's pretty solid, so I don't mind hitting the leaves. 3 or 4 quick seconds of a pour. And this intervention will really get your plants back on track. And in a couple of weeks, you won't even remember you had to do this. And again, the tomato plant doesn't look so bad. I just feel like the leaves should be a little bit bigger. And it's an established plant with a pretty good root system. So rather than just kind of feed the base, which I'll give it a couple of seconds, I also want to just water the whole area. Just adding in some more nitrogen, help this plant green up a little bit more and get some leaves going. Coming over to here, let me come around. We have the shishitos that are just kind of tall and a little lanky. They have great root systems too. And I'm going to just water in the whole surface, get to all the roots. Struggling yellow plants that go more at the base, plants that just need a boost that are a bit older, I'll just water in the base, or I'll water in the area like that. I like to do in the earth beds, really actually it doesn't matter. You could do the water soluble, then water them if the plants need to be watered. You could water the space, then hit it with the water soluble. You're just not gonna rinse the nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium away. In containers, maybe that happens. In the earth beds, any order is fine. Now just keep these plants well watered, and in about a week, you're gonna notice a big difference. Thanks so much for watching. Please check out my seed shop at therustedgarden.com. I sell tomato and pepper seeds, $1.75 a pack. All other seeds are $1.50. And check out the product link in the bottom left corner. I also sell neem oil and peppermint oil, great organic ways to manage pests and disease in the garden. And behind me is my mushroom garden. I'm thinking in about 30 to 60 days, I'm gonna have wine cap mushrooms. Again, please subscribe. I'll teach you how to grow food, have fun, and how to save some money. Thanks for watching.